All right, and I'm going to let Cal and Tess introduce themselves, then we are going to get started.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Cal Warren. I serve as the Guest Services Manager within Conference and Event Services. In addition to a couple others in our office, serve on our leadership team to supervise the role that we're hiring for, which is our Conference and Event Assistant, which we refer to as CAs. You may also hear me refer to our organization as CES, Conference and Event Services, throughout the presentation.
Hi, everyone. I almost said good morning. I don't know why it feels like morning because we're off to a new start, maybe. My name's Tess McGinty, and I'm the Assistant Director with the Mountain Campus. So here to help the session run smoothly and answer any questions if need be, but you're in good hands with Jess and Cal.
All right, everyone. My name is Jessica Smolinski. I'm the Conference Coordinator with the CSU Mountain Campus. I have worked for the Mountain Campus for about 5 years now, going to my 6th year, and I just love it up there. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Mountain Campus right now. So, okay, can you all see my screen? Great. Okay, so first of all, if you've never heard about the CSU Mountain Campus before, it is kind of the hidden gem of CSU. We've got over 100 years of history with the university. We're operated through housing and dining services. So our season of operation is typically summer through kind of mid-fall, mid-October, early fall. And we usually hire students to work our summer season so that they can return back to classes in the fall, and recent graduates or non-students to work for our fall season, or some of those recent graduates or non-students to work our full season as well. We primarily serve the Warner College of Natural Resources field courses and forestry classes, as well as a variety of conferences supporting our internal organizations and academic conferences and workshops from all over the place. We have up to 150 conferences per season in a normal year, so it's quite a lot going on up there. We're also home to a program called Eco Week, which is an environmental education program for 5th grade students in local schools. And we host a lot of different groups on our challenge course who come up just for the day. So we've got a lot going on at the Mountain Campus, and it is a pretty neat spot, if you ask me. So the Mountain Campus is kind of away from the hustle and bustle of town, which is kind of nice. It's a great summer job in a remote mountain setting. Now, if you're not familiar with a remote mountain setting, that means that we are pretty far away from what we would call town or Fort Collins or the closest civilization. It's about an 1.5-hour drive, and we are located about just over 9,000 feet in elevation, so quite a bit higher up than we are here in Fort Collins. We're about a couple of miles away from the northern border of Rocky Mountain National Park, and we're surrounded by Comanche Peak Wilderness and Roosevelt National Forest, so it's absolutely beautiful. One important thing to note is that there is absolutely no cell phone service up at the Mountain Campus and very limited Wi-Fi. So there is kind of a disconnection between the Mountain Campus and down here in town. So just keep that in mind if you're considering a position with us. You can take a look at our website here, mountaincampus.colostate.edu, and click video to see kind of a flyover video of what our campus looks like. Usually helps folks get a better visual. So we hire for a bunch of different positions, or what we call crews. And I'm going to go through each of those here in just a minute and tell you a little bit more about them. We are able to hire up to 30 staff members, kind of depending on our staffing needs. And typically about 1/3 of those come from returning staff from a prior season. So you've got someone to look up to, which is nice. Most positions work 35 to 40 hours a week, but it can always vary. And our positions do start at $12.32 per hour. So let me just tell you a little bit about all of our different crews. First, we've got up in the top left, our utility crew. They do basic maintenance repairs around campus, and they also fill in on all other crews as needed. So we're short in the kitchen one day, they're gonna hop in and help wash dishes. If they are, we need someone else to help vacuum or set up a classroom, they're gonna jump in and do that. So that's a really important piece of that crew. Up next is the challenge course facilitator. They're in the top right. These people work with our groups that come up on team building and low elements, as well as high elements where people are climbing up on a rope, those kinds of things. If you've never seen what our challenge course looks like, there's a lot of it on our website you can check out later. Down the bottom left is our office position, and these people will work in our main office, providing customer service to all of our guests, answering the phone, basic clerical duties, administrative support to all of our operational areas, and working in our little mini Mountain Campus store. Now, the challenge course facilitator position is only part-time, so you'll work either on the utility crew or in the office crew as well if you are selected as a challenge course facilitator. Then we've got our Eco Week instructor down there in the bottom right, and this is for fall season only. So if you're a student taking classes in the fall, you won't need to apply for this one. These people lead and teach the 5th grade ecology program, including classes, hikes, campfires, and the challenge course. It's a pretty fun job as well. Up next, we've got our housekeeping crew. These folks will clean and prepare all of our lodging and meeting spaces for the groups we visit. And do some meeting space setup. They get to go in and out of all of the buildings, and it's a lot of fun. Over on the top right, we've got our dining services crews, and there are 2 different positions available there. We've got cooks and we've got kitchen assistants. So cooks, as you would imagine, are responsible for preparing 3 meals per day for all of our guests and our staff. And kitchen assistants will do all of the food preparation, serve all of our guests, and kind of clean the dining center before and after meals. We're also hiring a program assistant, someone who can work our full season long. This person would support all of our administrative areas, focusing on conferences and Eco Week. They work in our office, in the store, and also on the challenge course. So lots of different options for crews if you're interested. Now, you may be wondering, why in the world would I work at the Mountain Campus? Well, great question. We've got very much a team-oriented work environment. We expect all of our employees to buy into our mission and our goals for our campus and put superior customer service at the forefront of all that we do. It's really important to us. We consider ourselves a little family. We focus a lot on the principles of community, as you would expect. Inclusion, integrity, respect, service, and social justice are very important to us. And again, we do have that family and community feel. We work together, we live together. It's really easy to form these meaningful, lasting, and beautiful relationships with all the people that you work with. It's a really, really great spot to meet friends if you are excited about that. Furthermore, you have got access to just unbelievable outdoor recreation opportunities up at the Mountain Campus. Fishing, hiking, lounging in a hammock, stargazing, rock climbing, anything that you want to do, you can do it up at the Mountain Campus. If you're not into hiking mountains, that's okay. You can sit on the porch and read a book or sit by the river and look at fish. It's a great time. Additionally, room and board are included. So that means you are not paying rent down here in town, and you are not buying any groceries for the duration of your employment with us. We take care of all of that, which is pretty great. I am going to run through a couple of frequently asked questions that we get, just so that we can kind of give you a little further information. So first of all, a lot of folks ask, can I take summer classes? Generally, it is very difficult for students to take classes while at the Mountain Campus. If you're taking an asynchronous class and you can download all of your materials while you're down here in town and turn in all of your assignments and things while you're down in town and connected to stable internet, we might be able to make that work. But if you've got synchronous or in-person classes, it likely will not. So if you choose to go ahead and apply, please contact me with those specific details before you apply, and we can talk through how that might look. What does housing look like? So staff are housed in a shared staff cabin. There are shared bathrooms, laundry, common room, and kitchenette. Typically, you'll have 1 or 2 roommates. Some staff might also be placed in other locations across campus just based on space availability. What are the meals like? So staff are offered meals 3 times a day, 7 days a week, whether you're working or not. So even on your day off, you can come in and get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have lots of different meal options and try and provide vegetarian and vegan options when we can, as well as fresh fruit and salad bar every day. What is the typical work schedule? Well, this depends on the crew. Some crews, like housekeeping and dining, will have 2 consecutive days off. They might not be Saturday and Sunday, but there'll be 2 consecutive days off, and they should remain the same throughout the season. Other crews, like the office or challenge course or utility crew, will have 2 days off, but they might not be consecutive, and they might not be the same from week to week. Can I take time off for vacation? So given the shortness of our season and the small amount of staff that we hire and operate with, it's generally very difficult for us to accommodate too much time off. So if you have, you're going to need to take 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer, that might not work so well for us. Contact me if you have any extended time off requests, or if you would need to leave employment early on. We can see what we can do, but it's not always guaranteed. So if you are a person who is excited about working in the mountains, you know you can provide great customer service, and you want to join this tight-knit community, you might want to join our team. We've got some information here about our website and my contact information, as well as our priority deadline of March 21st for this year. However, we're also going to link to our applications at the end of the next presentation, so make sure you stick around for that, and I'll answer any questions after that presentation as well.
Super. Thanks for all that information, Jess. We appreciate it. So now we're going to transition over to conference and event services. So our operation here at Conference and Event Services is an operation also based through housing and dining services at CSU. We work very closely with the Laurie Student Center, the event planning office over there, as well as the Alumni Center and all the different offices that are on campus. We work with them very closely, but we primarily take care of all of the spaces that are residential and overnight camps here on campus. So a little bit about our organization. We employ about 9 professional staff members. Jess, you can go ahead to the next slide. We employ about 9 professional staff members, and in a typical season, or I should say a non-COVID year, we would hire about 40 student staff members to work within our team throughout the summer season. This year, because of COVID, we have limited our staff members to 20, so we will only be hiring for 20 vacant positions, and that will fulfill our summer needs based on the groups that we have coming this year. In an annual year, or in a traditional annual year, we have about 120 different events, with average attendees of between 17,000 and 18,000 people who come to campus. There's some other statistics there for you, but a majority of our groups do choose to lodge on campus with us. So of all the groups that come during the summer, a lot of them are staying in the residence halls with us. Some of them are for the whole summer. Some of them are only for a couple days. It just depends on the group. And a lot of our groups that we have, about 47 of them are completely youth-based. So it's all youth under the age of 18. So a unique perspective to bring people to campus. As we look at our organization, we've transitioned to quite a bit over the years, but the most recent adaptation of our organizational structure for student staff is, as you see here, we have our guest services leadership team. So that leadership team includes myself. Another person on this call is Ashley Roper, who's our administrative assistant and helps with registration in our office. And then we also have a few other professional staff who help serve in that leadership team role. This summer, we will also have an intern who is our guest services assistant manager. That student will be a master's level student working with our team throughout the summer, coming from a school down in Texas. And then we will have our CAs. So within the CA role, everyone is hired for the same job. So they're hired to do the CA job. Within that job, though, you get the choice to choose which specialization you want to focus in on. So if you're really interested in that customer service and you want to interact with people, that's where you're going to be looking at that front desk specialist role. That role is going to be very high contact, high touch with people coming to campus. We want to make sure that you are there to be welcoming to the campus, welcoming them to campus, and being that resource for everything that we have to offer. Our operations specialists, those are the folks who are a little bit more behind the scenes. They will do a bit more of the setup and tear down of events. They'll help with some of the AV equipment. They'll be more of the logistical folks that we have on board to help make sure that the event goes off without a hitch. And then our final specialist area is the administrative specialist. This person will work very closely with Ashley, primarily helping out with our customer service line in our main office. So our office is located in Alpine Hall, kind of on that northwest side of campus over by the Durrell Center. And we have that office staff during the summer, and that's where one of our administrative specialists, or a couple of them, will work with Ashley to make sure that that process is being handled, as well as the registration elements of our operation. So the CA role, there's a few high points that I want to make sure to talk about. This role is generally, if you think about it from a high level perspective, you are the front desk person at a hotel. you are that person who checks in and checks out our conference guests. You are welcoming folks to the CSU campus, Fort Collins in Colorado. We have guests that come not only from here in town, but from the outside the state, outside the world, outside the nation. It's all over the place. We have a lot of different guests that come from across the nation. So you also are handling the on-call responsibilities. We don't have 24-hour operations, meaning we don't have a desk that's open 24 hours, but we do have staff members that are on call for a 24-hour period, meaning that you may get called at 2 in the morning to handle a crisis situation like a fire alarm. So there is that overnight services that we handle. The other piece is there's a lot of admin work that goes on in the building. We have a complete software package that we use within the role, and you'll be trained on how to use that platform and manage it through checking in and checking out of our guests. Within the role itself, as I had mentioned, there's those specialist areas. So yep, you can go to the next one, Jess. So the specialists, I kind of gave you a highlight of them, but again, the front desk specialists, these are our folks who will be helping with the setup and takedown of the building. Oh, actually, that's a flipped there. So we'll fix that on the slides, but they'll oversee the key preparation of the group check-ins and checkouts, as well as complete those weekly key audits. The operations specialists will be doing more of that on-site logistics and management. These staff members will work very closely with our conference managers, so our professional staff who are actually doing the planning and coordinating of the groups. They'll help coordinate our CES mail delivery, and then they'll also work on designing a summer-long staff social calendar. And then the final specialist area is our administrative specialists, and these folks will provide that on-call assistance as well as working with Ashley for those general office and clerical duty roles. A few things to talk about related to the position overall are some of those important details. So the position itself will start on May 31st. You can switch it on, Jess. The position itself will start on May 31st. What will likely happen is staff will be able to move into their building the day before that. So May 31st is a Monday, and that position will continue through August 9th. We do ask that you commit to a full season with us if that's possible, but I'll go over a couple FAQs and traditional questions we get asked about ending your contract a little early if you need to. You are provided an on-campus residence hall room. So it'll be an air-conditioned residence hall room. This year, our staff will be staying in Pinion Hall on that north side of campus in Laurel Village. We do want to make it clear that staff do not have to live in that room if you don't choose to. If you want to live off campus, if you have a lease or an apartment, you can definitely do that. We would require you to be on campus though when you are on call. And I'll reiterate that again later with our FAQs. You are provided a meal plan with this position. Staff are given a partial meal plan of 100 meals. How you use that 100 meals is totally up to you. If you want to blow it all in the first month and eat it all on campus, that's fine, but you have 100 meals for the whole summer and you can choose to use that how you want to. We do ask, as I mentioned, for that overnight commitment for the duty schedule. So the commitment to the overnight duty schedule for the summer is a requirement. The average number of nights where you're on call and you have to be on campus for that position is about 14 per person. So 14 nights throughout the course of the 10 weeks that you're with us, where you'd have to be on campus in person to respond to things should they happen. When we look at the weekly time commitments for our role, we do ask that staff will be required to work about 20 hours per week. This role is paid at minimum wage, which is currently at $12.32, so you'd be paid at the hourly rate. Hours will flex from week to week. There may be some weeks where it'll be a little less than 20, but there may be some weeks where it may be closer to 25 or 30. But generally, we're going to keep everyone right around that 20 hours a week. Schedules will be set every 2 weeks, so we try to keep our schedule consistent in terms of that, but it does change. We're a little more flexible with just a bigger staff size that we can accommodate some more time off and vacations. But weekends, evenings, and holiday hours will be required of this position as well. So the 4th of July happens over the summer. We have a large group of 1,000 people coming to campus that weekend, so we will be having staff work during that 4th of July weekend. There are a couple dates where we have mandatory days where staff have to be on campus. So some spring trainings, we'll be sending out some links to staff once they're offered the position to complete virtual online trainings. We'll either do them live, synchronous, or it could be done asynchronously if you can't make those certain times with class schedules and different times. Summer training will take place that first week of the summer, May 31st through June 4th, and that's an all-day training. So we go from 9 to 5. And then we also have, again, that mandatory work days in July. So July 3rd through the 10th, we have that 1,000 coming to campus. Things can obviously change with groups on our schedule, but that's currently the only mandatory days that we have blocked right now. So finally, when we look at the compensation of this position, there's a few things to highlight. Again, that hourly pay at $12.32 an hour. When you do the calculations over that 10-week period, it comes out to about $2,400 that you could potentially make if you worked just the average of that 20 hours, but that could go up or down. That air-conditioned room, that's a huge perk and a nice benefit of that. So that's $2,800 there. And then you also have that meal plan of $800 as well for 100 meals. So quite a nice breakdown and a good benefit of the summer of looking at our compensation for the position. So just to wrap up then, some FAQs, as Jess also mentioned. So when we look at this role on campus for the CAs, can I take a summer class or have a second job? The answers for those are both yes. So you can take summer classes with this CA position. We would ask that you run it by the leadership team to make sure that you understand the commitment of both managing you as a student and also managing you as a student employee. So we want to take that into account. Having a second job, it's going to be up to you as an employee to manage your hours. If it's a second on-campus job, you can't have hours that go over 40 for the total pay period. If it's a second job off campus, that's again something that we'll manage through the leadership team and conversations that we'll have. But the answer to both those questions is definitely yes. Do I have to live on campus? No, you do not. So we don't require staff to live on campus. If you already have a lease or an apartment, you're welcome to stay there for the summer. We won't be able to give you any additional pay for that if you choose not to use that residence hall room. That's just a wash for you. But unfortunately, we would require you to live on campus for duty shifts. So if you're on call for the overnight hours, you do have to be on campus. Can I take time off for vacations? Yes, definitely. We try to work as best we can because our schedules are set every 2 weeks. We can accommodate vacations a little easier. Obviously, we want to take into consideration everyone else's schedule. So we try to ask for vacation requests pretty early on. So if you know of a vacation ahead of time, definitely let us know. We always get questions, what if I'm an RA for the fall or another position within university housing and I can't stay through August 9th. We definitely understand that working within housing and dining services, we take that into consideration within the role. If you're selected for that role, we would give you the time that you need to go to training in the fall and work with the housing staff and teams that they have set up there to make sure you get the time that you have. We'll give you back to them for the fall. And next question, when can I move into my room? We generally, as it's stated in the employment position, this role starts on the 31st. We would hopefully be able to have all of your rooms available and ready for you to move in that same weekend. So you probably will be able to get in there as soon as the 30th, potentially even the day before that. Just depends on if the rooms are cleaned and ready for you for the summer. And then final question that we always want to get covered is, can I have guests stay overnight? Right now, we're following the protocol from Housing and Dining, which is for all of our residential students, they're not allowing overnight guests outside of the building to come in. So right now it's a no. However, with COVID protocols, if things change and they release that or relax that a little bit, there could potentially be the ability to have some guests stay overnight as long as it doesn't get abused by either party. So with that, we'll wrap up. So we're happy to take questions at this point. Again, our contact information, feel free to scan those QR codes. Both of those will link directly to our pages. All the applications for both positions are done online through a website called eResLife. The links that you can scan through those QR codes will get you to our landing pages, and then there'll be buttons on those pages to bring you to the actual application where you'll log in with your CSU EID. So if you have questions, definitely go ahead and put those either in the chat, or if you want to pop your video on or just unmute yourself, we'd be happy to take those, and we'll open it up. So question in the chat, what was the answer to if we could have a second job or not? I believe that's coming, I guess we'll share for both of us. So for CES, the answer is yes, you can have a second job as long as you're managing your hours. If it's a second on-campus job, your hours cannot exceed 40 hours. And if it's a second job that's off campus, that's totally your management of the hours. You can work however many you work with that second job, but your hours will still remain at 20 hours a week for CES.
For the Mountain Campus, we do have you working 35 to 40 hours a week. So unfortunately, we would not probably want you to have another job. I mean, you have a position where you're home on the weekends and you want to pick up some work, you're welcome to do that. But again, at the Mountain Campus, it is a live-in position. You will live up at the Mountain Campus with us, working nearly 40 hours a week. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Any other questions for us? All right, well, we'll stick around for a couple more minutes if you want to wait and ask us a question later. Otherwise, that is all we've got for you. So thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate your time. Let us know if you have any questions at all. You can see both of our websites here on the screen by scanning that QR code with your phone, and we'll be good to go. Thank you.